guys, welcome back to the channel, and for this one I'm going to be talking to you guys a little bit about all the stats that we currently have in the game. And the reason I'm doing this is because I had someone ask me in the comments to do so, and I'm really sorry, bro. I'm sorry it took me so long. I've just been dealing with so many different things. I really haven't had the time. So we're going to start from top to bottom, from left to right. And besides the obvious stuff like physical and energy attack that everyone should know that you get from ranking up your character, leveling up your character, and mastering them, and also like putting an ISO set on your character or rolling it in the first gear slot. The only one you might not know if you're really new is that you can get them from putting Urus on your character. Alright guys, so that's it for energy and physical attack because those are pretty basic. Next on my list is attack speed. Now the cap for attack speed is 130%. And this one right here was pretty tricky for me when I first started a year and a half ago, because I thought attack speed just meant when you press that big button where your character does a normal basic attack. I thought attack speed was just making it so that they attack faster from that little thing. I didn't actually know that attack speed actually speeds up the animation of the skill itself so that you can use the skills faster and use more skills if you have proper skill cooldown. So I didn't know that, and that's actually something that's really good, because having more attack speed, guys, will make it so that you can fly through your skill animation, get off more skills. And in some cases where you have characters that have a wind up on their skills, it will almost completely remove the wind up from the skill and make it so that you don't take damage in the wind up phase of that skill. So it's really good in that regard, and it will help you pump out a lot of extra damage if you have really high attack speed. However, guys, there is one drawback to having really high attack speed, and that is for characters like Ebony Maw, who right here, he has the shadow attack, which a lot of people, including myself, abuse the hell out of it because it's a really long iframe, and because it's really long, you can pretty much stay in it for the full duration of the cooldown of Dark Meteor, which is another iframe. So if your skill cooldown is maxed out, you can use these skills back to back and be safe like 99% of the time. However, if you have max attack speed with this guy and characters like him, who you try to abuse the fact that they have such long iframes, the iframes are going to become faster and they will complete the skills before they normally would, and then there will be about a 1.5 to a 2-second gap created by having high attack speed. So that's something that you guys need to keep in mind when you're deciding which characters you want to give really high attack speed to, because it can be very beneficial, but it can also break up your character a little bit if you're trying to use them in a certain way. Okay guys, so that's something for you guys to think about and figure out for yourself. Remember, like I said, the cap is 130. You don't have to go all the way to the cap. A little bit is always nice. Okay, so the next one on my list right here, guys, is critical rate. And critical rate is very similar to dodge, where both stats share a cap of 75% and work very similar to one another. So we're going to go ahead and do them together in order to save some time. So when it comes to critical rate and dodge, guys, it all depends on your level, not your shield level, guys, your character level compared to the opponent's level. So unlike the other stats displayed in this page right here, what you see when it comes to critical rate and dodge is not what you actually get. And what I mean by this is that if two characters faced off against each other, and let's say they both have 50% crit rate and 50% dodge, like let's say that's the base we're gonna use, okay guys? So keep that in mind. The crit rate and the dodge of both characters will be immediately cut by about 50%. So if they started off having 50% each, that 50% is then going to be cut to about 25%. And that's kind of how critical rate and dodge work. It depends on the enemy level compared to your level. So if they're the same level as you and everything else is the same, so they're level 60, you're level 60, they have 50%, you have 50%, you're going to both take an equal cut, and you're going to be down to having 25% for both those stats. Here's another example for you guys. If you have a level 60 character being attacked by a level 30, and that level 60 character has the same 50% dodge and crit rate we mentioned earlier. Instead of getting a 50% cut to his dodge and crit rate, leaving him with the original 25% that he would have had if he was going up against a level 60, his dodge and crit rate is only going to be cut to about 35% from the original 50. Likewise, that level 30 will take a massive cut to his dodge and crit rate, and of his original 50%, he's only going to have about 15 to 20% chance of dodging or scoring a crit against you. So you can see what I mean, where your level matters very, very much when it comes to these two stats. And I'm sorry if this one ends up being too long, guys, but another good example of this is if you have a level 60 tier 2 character versus a normal level 60, using the same 50% formula that we've been using, that normal level 60 character will get his dodge cut to about 15 to 20% the same way how that level 30 would have gotten the cut against you. Whilst the tier 2 will only have his dodge cut to about 30 to 35%. So you can see where your character rank and your character level determines how these percentages are calculated. Now, keep in mind that this is only true if neither characters have no guaranteed dodge or guaranteed critical rate in their respective kits. And in order to give you guys a few PvE examples of this, I'll use the world boss for example, which Datamine has shown us that they're estimated to be level 70, guys. So using the same 50% as our base, a normal level 60 will have his crit and dodge cut from the 50% that we've been using to about 20%, while a tier 2 level 60 will get his stat cut from the original 50% to about 30%. So you guys can see where everything in this game, when it comes to those two stats, are intertwined. Your level is very, very important, and the tier 2 rank is also important. So with that in mind, guys, you can see why most people like myself don't really mention capping out your crit rate or your dodge too often, because there's a lot of variables involved. And this is shown to be true by the simple fact that in this game right now, guys, critical rate and guaranteed dodge are the only stats that have the word guaranteed in front of them. No other stat has this. So if your stats from this display page right here was always guaranteed, there would be no reason, absolutely no reason, for guaranteed dodge or guaranteed critical rate to exist. If you guys can see what I mean. Like, no other stat in this game right now has the word guaranteed in front of it, because they all stay the same. And what is displayed here, with the exception of what you get from your alliance, is what you actually have. Okay, guys? So these two stats are very tricky, and they all depend on your level, your rank, and all that stuff. Now, let me just say this real quick, guys. Credit for all this information should go to our fellow Future 5 players over there on the Reddit forum, because this information is something that I only came across when I started noticing more and more characters popping up with guaranteed dodge and guaranteed critical rate. Okay, and it helped me confirm a long-running suspicion I had, and why no matter how much dodge I had, I would still be taking a lot of friggin' hits and have no idea what the hell was going on. Okay, guys, so I'm sorry that just explaining those two stats took up so long. I don't mean for my videos to be this long, I promise you, but I just wanted to be as thorough as possible and give you guys as much information as I can, which is why I usually don't make these kind of videos, because I don't want you guys to sit for 20 minutes, and I'm rambling now, so this is going to end up being longer. Shit. Sorry, guys. Now, moving on to critical damage. Critical damage, guys, the cap is 200%. As you guys can see, I have 179 for my Iron Fist. The cap is 200. However, you get 14% from your alliance, so you only need 186 if you're in a level 30 alliance. Now, I'm not going to even include those bonuses, because a lot of you guys may not be in a level 30 alliance, so just keep in mind that the bonuses that you get from your alliance are not shown on this page, and then just subtract what's shown on the alliance page from the totals that I'm telling you. Okay, guys? Now, next up is ignore defense. Ignore defense caps out at 50%. As you guys can see, I have 38% here, but that's because my Iron Fist, his third skill, right here gives him 15% ignore defense, so I don't need to cap that. However, in most cases, you always want to cap this. This is one of the key stats that you must have if you want to do well in every single game mode across the board. Okay, guys, it's up there with having really high attack. Trust me, guys. So ignore dodge might actually be bugged, guys, because if you take a look at this team right here that I put together just to show you guys, take a look at my friggin' Kate Bishop's ignore dodge. 127%, which implies that this goes all the way up to 200. Like, that's crazy. Why would I ever need 200% ignore dodge when the highest guaranteed dodge in the game is Ant-Man with 87%? Makes no sense. This might actually be a visual bug because regular dodge only goes up to 75%, and once it gets there, it just kind of caps off and it doesn't go any higher no matter what you do. So this might be something that Netmarble needs to fix. I'm not sure, but to be honest, guys, I wouldn't try to purposely get over 100% ignore dodge. You're just wasting a lot of stats. Trust me, guys. Now, all these run right here: fire damage, cold damage, lightning damage, poison damage, mind damage. They all cap out at 200%. Just for you guys who are unaware, you can get them from your obelisk and all that other good stuff from leaderships and stuff. Yeah. So let's move over to this next side here. We're not even going to bother with physical and energy defense and HP because that just goes without saying, guys. So recovery rate, the cap for that is 250%. And to be honest, I don't know who the hell is gonna put 250% recovery rate on a character unless they're building like some kind of tank like Groot. Like, that's it. Like, Groot's the only one that should have 250% recovery rate, if you ask me. And like we've mentioned before, the dodge for cap is 75%, but that's just a whole bunch of nonsense. So I don't even try to spec any character for dodge. That's just my take on it. Fire resist, cold resist, lightning resist, poison resist, mind resist. They all cap out at 200. Just like their counterpart, they just cap out at 200. But who the hell is going to put 200% resist on any? Who's going to put even 50% resist on any character, to be honest? Like, you should never, ever, ever try to put resist on any character because this game is turning 2 years old in a few days and we've yet to see a use for resist in anything. Like, attack is king, attack is always going to be king. We're getting more fire characters, but even fire resist is still not relevant. So you should never put resist on any characters, but it's good to know what the cap is for if and when the day comes. Movement speed, same as attack speed. The cap is 130. Reduce debuff duration, that is 75%. That is what was called crowd control, which not sure why they're changing the name over in here, but not actually changing some of the leadership names as well. But that's their prerogative. Just so you guys know, crowd control is decent, but it's better than resist. But I wouldn't spec for it either. That's just my opinion. And last but not least, guys, one of the key skills, or rather stats, is reduce cooldown duration or skill cooldown. The cap for this is 50%. But like I said, guys, you want to keep in mind that what you get from your alliance is not shown here, and you get 14% once you're in a level 30 alliance. So that will get you, like right now, my Kate Bishop has 50%, so 36% is as high as you want to go. And that's pretty much all I have to talk about in this one, guys. I'm sorry if it ended up being longer than I wanted it to be. And yeah, so check out that body. And I'll see you guys in the next one. And I'm gone.